man with a spear is a fortress.
Thousands of wishes form thousands of butterflies.
Tournament as well.
Anong pakiramdam na ngayon hawak mo to at mamaya dudurugin mo yan, yung golden key na yan?
Hindi ko po alam.
He can't express himself right now. He just knows that he's really happy. Congratulations, and we're looking forward to seeing you in the semifinal. NIP Flash, Singapore's dream team, have done it all. They're going to the top 4. Congratulations, and now we're gonna break it down for you. We're gonna head to our panel. Time to shine.
Thank you very much, Mara, as well as the Wood Sandstorm. And let me just say, let's put this into perspective.
Okay.
With what has happened here today, the top 3 regions in MLBB for now is Philippines, Malaysia, and Singapore. Where later on, I mean, Philippines is definitely going to be at least top 2.
That's right.
Now it's about Malaysia and Singapore. Which one is going to be top 2?
The SIMP region is just SMP now.
SMP. MSC SMP.
Yep.
Yeah, Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines.
Yep. Proven and tested.
Proven and tested. Welcome to the...
This is the new age.
This is the new landscape of MLBB.
To be fair, I think that in this particular game, this jawhead makes a lot of sense. You saw how it made the bats with full stacks look like it's like melted, oh my god.
Yes.
That was intense.
He hit
yeah, actually, yeah.
That's how frustrated
That's how frustrated he is. But yeah, it made it look like bats was very squishy in the early stages. However, the looming problem for the X-Borg is that, for the Jawhead is that you're kind of all in. If you don't get your pick off after that initiation, you kind of don't have a reset button.
Yeah.
Unlike when you have the Kaja, which is a guaranteed stun, I would like to use what Mr. Naisu uses. They don't have an on-demand initiation, unfortunately. All the while, when you're looking at the side of NIP Flash, they have guaranteed stuns. They have the Way of the Dragon, they have the Stolen Final Slash, they have the Barrett's Ultimate, which he was actually phenomenal about. And this guy, Diablo,
he's something special. It's
special.
devilish.
Whew.
Devilish, I like that.
Devilish.
Yep.
Because it's like, the devil and it's delicious. Devilish.
I think that's how that word works.
Yeah.
Anyways, I like the fact that it's almost full damage. He even ended, all he picked up was the immortality.
Yeah.
Monstrous, you could say. He's got a pair of boots, but still, overall, the final game was close down. For me right now, it's this big toss-up between Kurt and Vanix. Like, those two players throughout this whole series have just been insane. It's kind of, even JPL, it's kind of hard to pick who I would be like the star of this series.
Yeah, it depends on each game, right? Because you can see that in the first few games, it was Hades. Then eventually Curtisi. I think Curtisi was the most consistent out of everyone, like for the 5 games. Even the games that NIP Flash lost, Curtisi was performing well. And then you see Vanix just perform in the most important portions of the game, particularly in the late game, where he's able to output the damage. And then Diablo, when given his signature play style, I would say. It's not even just the hero, it's a signature play style. Benedetta, full damage, lethal ignition, petrify. Once he sees a target, he will not stop until he gets the goal of killing that target.
And because of that, Sapa on this Arlet was a non-factor. I would say the Arlet as well as the Jawhead, it looks like they weren't really there in the fight.
In the mid game, I would say yes, but in the early stages, you can see the massive impact that Soren was able to output in this game. However, I think you have to take note that if you don't really kind of usher your cores, like for example this Ling to the mid game, you're in for a lot of trouble. Like the Claude and the Ling, although they got the farm eventually, in the early stages they were contested a lot. Like the purple buff is getting invaded by the Barretts constantly, and that allowed with NIP Flash to just take over the map in the early stages of the game.
Yeah, I think that whole series was going to eventually pick lead. Hades top. I think once we got to the end game, purple buff started getting denied, things of that nature, and it just became a problem. And like you said, there was about a 3,000 gold deficit between the XP laners. So it was tough. It was a tough game. But even then, it was down the line 11-11 at 11 minutes and 11 seconds. It was crazy.
And something interesting to talk about as well. The moment Hades switch it up, he's like, you know what? Assassin junglers aren't working. Going for the utility worked out incredible for them.
Yeah, that's the Guinevere that was successful, and eventually this Barretts. When you look back at his performance with the Assassins, it was actually really good. You know, that's getting 9-0 at the start. Game number 1, game number 2. That's also the same. It's like toe to toe with Chibi, and that's also true for game number 3. But they just couldn't finish properly. Now with the utility junglers, what Hades brings to the table is that extra macro factor wherein you're now invading the jungle, you're now denying some parts of the map, you're now frontlining for the team, you're making sure that the objectives will go in your favor and allow for your other side laners to wreak havoc in specific parts of the game.
Yeah, we got to look at our Sony MVP, and guess what? It's the Singaporean devil, Diablo, on that Benedetta.
Very deserving.
I would even say this entire series, I do agree that Kurt Teasy is like the most consistent one.
Yep.
But when it comes to making sure that you have a lead and you maintain that lead, dude, Diablo, when he gets that Benedetta, is a whole different beast.
Yep.
Yeah, I think when it came down to crunch time, those last 2 games, and when you really had to put your big on, Diablo was definitely the player who was able to, get up when he needed to.
Yeah, look at that. Look at how they managed it. And then eventually, this play was definitely one for the books. Chibi wanted to kind of dip back to the frame because he wanted to pick up the sword, one of the blades. Diablo read that properly and punishes him for that.
Yeah, and again, looking at this matchup, looking at how Diablo has been moving around, I feel like the second item, Sky Piercer, kind of made it so that he has to be involved in most of the fights. And again, most of the fights that he's involved with, they win. Yep. Like looking at the turnaround, Homeboys, they would initiate a fight. It's just that no matter what, it does always look like Diablo always have the upper hand.
Yeah. We'll look at that punish eventually. Then they will get the Lord afterwards. They will even scout out where Soren is. And then I think at that moment also, you feel the momentum shift heavily on the side of NIP Flash. Homeboys is a team that kind of relies on the momentum as well. So what happens is that if you take away the initiative from them, you take away the momentum from them, it kind of feels like they're already lost. They have to find another opening afterwards. And in games number 4 and 5, NIP Flash did not let go of that momentum.
You know what's crazy too is before this whole series we were talking to Animage about damage EXPs and how you had to pair it up with the utility jungle, and that's exactly what they did, and they made it work so well. But we had a guest up here.
Now we have Adamir, the coach, coming in from NIP Flash. Now, of course, first question. That was an intense 5 games in a best of 5. How do you guys feel right now?
We're all feeling good, and we're definitely happy that we made it to the top 4.
Yeah, speaking of making it to the top 4, let's actually conceptualize this. This is a brand new landscape for the competitive scene in MLBB, where after that win against Homeboys, now the top 3 regions, at least for MSC, is Philippines, Malaysia, and Singapore. how does it feel that you guys, based on this win, have made Singapore one of the top 3 regions in terms of competitiveness?
I think for Singapore, we always had a problem with lack of players being in one team. We were always split up with good players being in a different team. And finally, we get all the players that we want in a dream team. And we're ready to prove that Singapore isn't as weak as people think we are.
I mean, right now, being in the top 4, securing 200,000 USD as well, like, that's a huge statement. Speaking of which, game number 5, the Jawhead, did that throw you guys off? Did that change your plan in any kind of way?
Definitely, when the Jawhead came out, I was quite thrown off. But luckily, I played in MPL MY